So I was serving in an area called Sisaket. It's in the eastern part of Thailand. Pretty small city, and there were two companionships there, so we each had like half the city. And we could bike to pretty much the end of our area in 15 minutes, and that was it, you know. I was with a companion. He was native Thai. His name was Elder Rakmag, which is kind of a funny name. It means lots of love. That was like his last name. So everybody was like, "What? How'd you get that name?" And I was curious too. I was a little jealous, but you know, Chamberlain's all right. So it was me and Elder Rakmag, and I was pretty young in the mission, and I was training him, and you know, we didn't know exactly what we were doing, but we were both really dedicated and wanted to help people. And the only thing we could think of to do to find new people was just tract, knock on doors, talk to people. So we started doing that a lot, and we kept doing it, and at one point we felt like we had essentially knocked on like every door in the city. We didn't know where else to go, and so we started asking people like where other neighborhoods were, and they kept telling us I think there's a neighborhood along this road. You just kind of go in the forest. I mean, there's a city, and then this road just keeps going out into the forest, and there's trees on both sides, and they said it kind of opened up into a neighborhood. And so we went once, found a little neighborhood, kind of tracted, you know, within a week or two, tracted that whole thing, and found a few people, found a couple inactive members. That was cool. But we felt like from what we had heard from other people, there should have been this other neighborhood, like, you know, a little further in. And so a few times we'd bike for like 20, 30 minutes, and then just get caught in a huge storm and, you know, come back and never found it. And finally one day we were trying to find it again, and we went out and we're just biking, and then get to just dirt. They're redoing the road too, so we're always just like driving through mud, and it was really bad. Finally we get to this little intersection we'd passed a few times before while looking for this neighborhood, and it was just this dirt road that looked like it went to nowhere, but we didn't know where else to go, so we said maybe you know, this little dirt road opens up into this gorgeous neighborhood, who knows. And so we went back, and there's a few houses. We taught one family, and then there was like this really old rundown hotel that, like, you know, probably hadn't had anybody staying there for 20, 30 years. And finally we found this house, and we biked by, and we saw like a husband, a wife, a small child, and grandparents. And we were just like, oh my goodness, like, when do you see like a family this just like perfect, you know, father, mother, child, and parents just sitting around waiting for you to teach them, right? And so we started talking to them, and fortunately, like, the younger guy wasn't too interested. He wouldn't listen. His wife was making food and wouldn't come over. So we talked to the grandparents, and it went all right. But we did get a return appointment, so we were at least happy about that. We said, you know, they weren't super just gung-ho about it the first time, but they're happy to let us come back, and that's a good sign, right? So we went back a few days later, and there was a new lady there, and she was really talkative. And she came up and greeted us when we got there on our bikes and said, "Hey, I thought you were going to come yesterday. My dad told me you guys were coming yesterday." And we were going to come the day before, but got stuck somewhere and called him and had to cancel it. So she was like sad, and we're like, wow, someone we've never met sad that we didn't come to appointment. Like, this also doesn't happen that often. And so she said, "Hey, my husband is back here painting our house. Why don't you come over and hang out?" And we looked back and hadn't really noticed the first time there was like another house set back from the house right on the road that looked like it had just been built. It was like really nice, and there was like this 40-year-old man like painting the house. And you know, what a great opportunity. Go meet somebody, help him paint his house or something. And so we went over, sure enough, started helping him paint his porch. like the side rails on his porch and different things. Started talking, really nice guy. The lady was bringing us jackfruit and cashews, because they kind of lived on like a little cashew plantation and had a bunch of jackfruit trees, and it was it was amazing. And they were being super nice. And then the dad went to pick up his daughter from school, so we just kept painting, and then she came home, and there's this beautiful little family, a father, mother, and a daughter, and we just talked to them for a while. And as we were leaving, we said, can we, we don't want to force you into like listening to a message because we helped you paint your porch, but we do have this amazing message about Jesus Christ, and we'd love to share it with you. So they pulled out their mat, rolled it out on the porch, and we sat down and started teaching them. And the first lesson went really bad. We started talking, and then the wife just jumped in and talked for 20, 30 minutes straight. And then the husband had other stuff to do. And so he looked over at us and said, "Are you guys done yet?" And we really hadn't even been talking. But still, when a husband says that, it's not a good sign. And so we said, "You know what, we're about done. We'll just pack up and leave." So we tried to get in a closing prayer, and then we left, and our hearts were broken. We're like, "Oh man, we blew it. This beautiful family." And the husband probably doesn't want us to come back. But we did get an appointment to come back and like help him paint again. And so we'd go there, and we taught him a little bit, or we'd go back and paint. And eventually we just became really close with this family. And a few families from the branch became their best friends. And they started coming to church. The daughter came first, and then one of the parents, and both of the parents. And then they had 3 daughters. One of the other daughters came back from college to live at home again. And soon enough, this family was just doing really well and progressing. And we kept inviting them to be baptized. And they'd say, "No, we're not ready. No, we're not ready." And finally, it got to the point where we've been teaching them for quite a while, and they still weren't. They kind of like stopped progressing a little bit. They're just kind of dragging their feet. They weren't always reading the scriptures. They weren't always coming to church and different things. And their main concern that the wife kept bringing up, she said, "We have one daughter that's still at college, and if we all get baptized, and she's not a part of it, and she really didn't know anything about it at the time, like she's going to feel really left out." And the husband had told me before, he's like, "I'm ready to be baptized, but I'm not going to do it without my wife." And the wife just kept saying, "We got to wait for our other daughter. We got to wait. We got to wait." And they kind of slowed down until, in their progression, stopped progressing, until at one point we decided there's nothing we can do for them. We visit them all the time. The members are great friends. I think it's time that we let them, they've essentially decided. And so we decided we were going to stop teaching them for a while. And we told the members that even before the lesson. We said, "You're their best friends in the branch. So we figured we better tell you before the lesson that we're going to tell them tonight that we probably won't. We'll still visit them once in a while, but we're not going to continue to teach them on a regular basis." And the members, they understood. They had kind of seen it too. And so we started teaching. Before this lesson, my companion and I, we had just had a zone conference on loving our investigators. And we decided that was something we could do better. So our main goal was just to love these people. And that's all we wanted to get across. We wanted them to know that we loved them, but at the same time we're going to tell them that we couldn't teach them anymore. And when we started teaching, the Spirit was so strong. I don't think I've ever felt the Spirit that strong before. like the Lord was speaking through me. And the wife brought up the concern again that they couldn't do it without their other daughter. And a scripture came to mind that, at that time of my mission, I was really trying to work on like scriptures. I feel like I didn't know the scriptures that well, so I was trying to memorize scriptures. And a scripture mastery came to mind, which is, I believe, 3 Nephi 12, 14 through 16. And I shared that with them, and essentially told the husband that he would be a light to his family. They didn't need to worry about their daughter because she would see what it did for them, and they could be examples for her. And that scripture and the spirit that was there that night was so strong that the husband said, "Okay, I'm ready." And then both of his daughters said, "We're ready too." And so the 3 of them got baptized a couple weeks later. And the mom didn't. She did wait for her other daughter, and then the following spring, when her daughter came back, they both learned the lessons again, and then were baptized by the father. So, kind of the miracle of my mission, that wonderful family, husband, wife, 3 daughters. They're still going strong, and I think a few of them have goals to be missionaries. So, just amazing experience.